Hi, everyone, and welcome to TWF NXT. I am Gorilla Monsoon here with Samoyed and with the Jackal. And today on NXT, we're going to see. Well, we're going to see the. We're going to see the. we're going to see the TWF. Um, the TWF YouTube winnings here today. Gorilla Monsoon says. Oh, yes, we are, Lois said. I know a lot of folks might think that the TWF YouTube winnings, they might think it's a stunt, they might think it's a lark. They might think, oh, we're just doing it to make fun of AEW for having the TNT and the TBS winnings, whatever that is. Well, I can tell you one thing the Jackal says. I don't really think it was a stunt and lark. Gorilla Monsoon and Elo Samoyed. At the end of the day, I think now if you want to think what a stunner lark is, that would happen to be the TWF YouTube win. That happened to be the TWF 24/7 winnings. Because my belief that is the stunt. That is the lark. You know why you don't want to hear Oscar say that? Gorilla Monsoon said. You know, Jackal, I tell you what, you don't want Oscar to hear you saying that. Saying that the TWF YouTube winnings is a stunt and lark, Gorilla Monsoon says. You know? But anyway, Elois, that isn't a match, that's not what's on the show. What's on the show is Arrow, who is the TWF YouTube fighter, and he is putting his TWF YouTube winnings on stake. Alright. So I know I'm the TWF YouTube fighter, or whatever the English word for it is. And some folks might say that I'm just, making fun. That just, making fun of AEW for having a TNT winnings, having TBS winnings. Which at the end of the day, I don't really know why they have that for. And one just seems to be alive, and the other one seems to be. A lot of folks win one, and no one's winning the other one. So the way I look at it is that I'm putting it on stake here today, and if anyone wants to fight me for it, then they can come out. Because I take on all dares, Arrow says. Well, then you won't mind taking me on as a dare, then, Arrow. I mean, Johnny Nergato says, I have always, Arrow, you happen to be one of these followers of the 4-1 Bonds of Good, and no one really talks about you that much, Like, okay, I'll be earnest. I never read any of your books. I never saw any of your films or shows or plays. So I don't know I don't know. But I do know that you came from the Glassport Thrift Center, or was it the Glass Side Thrift Middle? And when the TWF brought back the YouTube winnings, I know that I was going to make it that I was going to bring on look to it. So, if you want to take me up on my dare, well, I guess I'll have to do that, Arrow says. I'll take you up on the dare, Johnny Nergato. We'll put the TWF YouTube winnings on stake here today. And this is for the TWF YouTube winnings. First, he is Johnny Nergato, also known as Johnny Wrestling. And he is the TWF YouTube fighter, Arrow. Well, here's a little needed thing Gorilla Monsoon says you might not know, is that Johnny Wrestling got his name off of someone called Johnny Football. You wouldn't know that. And you would know that, Gorilla Monsoon says. Oh, there's some skilled football player out there who plays on some team that calls himself Johnny Football, and then that's why WWE had called Johnny Wrestling. You know? Well, I didn't know that, Lois says. Well, at the end of the day, the Jackal says, I didn't really like Arrow. And he's like, what? $1.91 mint? Oh! And Arrow getting beat up right now by Johnny Nergato. I mean, how can someone be $1.91 mint? I mean, how can they? The Jackal says. Someone didn't think he was worth that much, and then they gave him away. The Jackal says, would you stop, Gorilla Monsoon says, saying sliding Arrow like that. You know, saying, oh, he's $91.91 shift, so he's not worth that much, and someone gave him away. Well, Samoa said, we all had to come from somewhere, right? We all had to come from somewhere, right? And so, what's the big deal if he's $1.91 shift? A body slam. Samoa said he's a good wrestler, he's a good fighter, you know, and we should be thankful someone did give him away, or we would have never gotten Arrow in the TWF then, Samoa says. And Arrow now's got the upside. You know, Samoa says. Well, Arrow now got the upside now, Gorilla Monsoon said, on Johnny Nergato, also known as Johnny Wrestling to some of you folks. Johnny Nergato is hoping to become a free-time TWF YouTube fighter here today on NXT, Gorilla Monsoon says. And Johnny Nergato was getting ready to do his kick thing, and Arrow got him, Gorilla Monsoon says. Well, this is going to be a battle. I think Arrow is going to keep his winnings, Samoa says. That's just me. Well, what do you call that hold? The Jackal said, coming from $1.91 shift blue. That's what we'll call it, the $1.91 shift blue. Would you stop? Gorilla Monsoon says, calling it $1.91 shift blue. Jack, would you stop that? 1, 2, 3. Ding ding ding. Here is your winner. And still the TWF YouTube fighter, Arrow. Well, it is true, Samoa said, that Arrow is $1.91 mint. You know, and he was blue. Alright? But I don't think that's the name of his end hold at all, Samoa says. No, I do not think so, Gorilla Monsoon said. I think it was only the Jackal here being a creep by saying that about Arrow. Well, it is, Gorilla Monsoon said. I tell you right now, the Jackal says, he is $1.91 shift. He is blue. It's written on his back. We don't got a name for that hold, so that's what I'm calling it. Well, I do know one thing. Tony Schiavone now, Gorilla Monsoon said, is now going to be talking with Arrow. That's right, Gorilla Monsoon. I'm going to be talking with Arrow here today on NXT. Alright, Arrow. We just saw you in your match with Johnny Nergato, and you're still the TWF YouTube fighter. Oh yes, Tony Schiavone. I'm still the TWF YouTube fighter, you know. And I heard the Jackal said about me how I'm $1.91 mint Blue, and he was saying that's the name of my hold. Well, I don't know what the name of my hold is, but it's not $1.91 shift, a 91 mint. I can tell you that. And I had a good match, a good fight with Johnny Norgado, also sometimes called Johnny Wrestling, which I think is a cool nickname. He gave me one hell of a match, alright? But at the end of the day, I beat him, and I'm still the TWF YouTube fighter. Oh yes you are, Tony Schiavone says. And some folks might think that, might wonder if other folks are coming after you. Do you have other dares that you're going to take up with folks? Well, I take on the dares as they come. If someone wants to have an open dare with me and wants to wrestle me and wants to fight me, they know where they can seek me. I take on all dares. Well, Tony Schiavone said, what if I told you there were some folks out there who, think that the TWF YouTube winnings is just making fun of the AEW, TNT, and TBS winnings? Well, if there's someone out there who believes that, Tony Schiavone, which I don't know who does, I would say at the end of the day, that's their thought and that's their belief. They got no truth to back it up or make it true. Well, that's my talk with Arrow. Back to you, Gorilla Monsoon. Well, thank you, Tony Schiavone, for talking with Arrow here today on NXT. And that's all the time we got here for NXT. I am Gorilla Monsoon for Samoeus and the Jackal. We hope you like NXT, and we'll see you tomorrow for Dynamite or Might.